Alright, so we're checking out the Jackery solar generator 1000 plus, and this is a 1264 watt hour power station with a pure sine wave inverter, 2000 watts nominal, 4000 watts burst. So here's a quick look around the power station. You get a nice handle here up on top to carry it around. It weighs about 32 pounds, so not that heavy. It's pretty average for this capacity. You do get a nice little carrying case here with a car charger, and this is an 80-20 barrel connector. You can charge it on the panel in the back. So in the back there's the panel for, there's two DC inputs, two 80-20 barrel connectors, an AC power plug, and an expansion port for an expansion battery, which I don't have. And then you also get this nice AC cable here for AC charging. Very thick, probably overkill, but high quality. And then you do get a nice manual here. We'll talk about the specs here in a second. They did also send me their Solar Saga 100 solar panels. I got two of them. They're two 100 watt solar panels and foldable. Very nice. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video and how the performance was on those. And just a quick look at the front of the unit here. You get a standard LED light here, 3 different brightness settings, and then you got your SOS. A little panel here shows your basic information, watts coming in, watts going out, battery percentage. This does come with an app to connect to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. The power on button to turn the screen on and off. So you can do that, and also long press to turn it off and on. If the green light is on, then the power station is powered on. Got this button here for the 12 volt cigarette lighter port here. It's a DC port, 12 volts and 10 amps out of this one, and you do have to press that button to turn it on. You can see that once you turn it on, it shows you how many hours based on the amount of watts that are being drawn. Same here with the USB DC out. You get two USB A's at 18 watts max. I think these are quick charge USB. Then you have two USB-C power delivery at 100 watts max. And then you just press this button to turn that on. Then you get three pure sine wave inverter AC ports at 120 volts. And again, you just turn it on by pressing this button, and it turns on over here. And on each side of the power station are ventilation ports for the fan. And let's take a quick look at the manual and just cover some of the specs here that perhaps didn't cover earlier. So yes, this is lithium iron phosphate. Pretty much all power stations these days are based on the lithium iron phosphate chemistry. It's going to give you longevity, basically pretty much idiot proof. It's very safe, and it'll last like 10 years. In terms of the capacity, the breakdown is 30.4 amp hours at 41.6 volts and 1264 watt hours total capacity. The weight's 32 pounds. Here are the dimensions, about 14 by 10.2 by 11.1 inches. Life cycle, again, lithium iron phosphate, 4,000 cycles to 70% capacity. Again, the AC inverter rated 2,000 watts and burst to 4,000 watts. The two DC input ports on the back are rated from 12 to 60 volts. So you can put much solar panels either in parallel or series within this voltage range, and it should work. And your maximum is 11 amps. And it says it can go up to 800 watts max. This is one of the power stations on the market that can go pretty high on the solar input. So if you have a lot of solar panels and combine them into various parallel and series configurations, and you can get up to 800 watts on this one and charge it really fast. Here's a quick breakdown of the display. So you can pause the video. I'm not going to read everything here, but some of the little icons that show up here, they're numbered, and then you can see what these are. Basically, it just shows you how long it'll take to charge up the power station, or how long the power station will last on the time there. So I did run a capacity test with my capacity meter out of the 12 volts cigarette lighter port. Ran it for about 10 hours at about 120 watts. Continuous drew out around 1125 watts. So about 89-90% of the rated capacity, which is about normal. It basically just means that there's a little bit of a loss there from the DC to DC conversions going on inside the power station to draw out that power from the 12 volt socket. That's completely normal, but 1125 watts out of that port at 120 watts is very reasonable. So one of the benefits of having Wi-Fi on this one, so some power stations only have Bluetooth, but this one has Wi-Fi as well. With Bluetooth, you have to be within a certain range. The phone has to be close enough to the power station to connect to it, but perhaps you want to connect this to your home network via Wi-Fi, and then when you do that, you can be pretty far away from the power station as long as the power station is connected to your home Wi-Fi network, and then the phone that you're using with the app is also connected to the same Wi-Fi network. You can control and observe the output power of the power station remotely. And this is what I have right now. I have it connected to my home network via Wi-Fi. I got the app installed here. Shows the battery percentage there. You can just get the app from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Shows the current percentage on here, and then if you're using it for whatever devices that are plugged in, it'll show you how much output power is there and input power, and you can actually control certain ports. Like for example, if you want to turn on the USB, click on that, and then you can see that the light turned on over there for the USB. Let me just zoom out here. You can turn that off. Turn on the AC remotely as well, and turn that off. And you can also control the light. So you can also adjust the screen settings here. So right now it's off, but if you want to turn it on, you can press this here. It'll turn on for 2 minutes there, or you can have it on for 2 hours. It's up to you. You can go over to this little icon here and go into your additional settings. So I did change it to the quiet charging mode. I'll talk about that here in a second. You can adjust things like your energy saving mode. So I think it turns it off if there's no load. So if you have things plugged in but there's no load being drawn, you can actually turn this off automatically at a certain time setting. So as low as 8 hours and as high as 24 hours, or you can just set it to never, so it'll never power down. So for example, if you have something that's critically important and needs to be on all the time, then you'll probably want to set it to never. And later on, if there's firmware upgrades, you can click over here and see if there are any, but right now there are no updates. Alright, so I'm going to do the AC charging test, and I set the app, which I've already installed and connected, to the quiet charging mode. So this will be the slower charging mode, but as you can see here, it says that the noise will be reduced by approximately 30 dB. And so we'll test that first and see how many watts come in on the input for the amount of noise that's being generated. Alright, got that plugged in, and you can hear the fan turning on just briefly, not very loud. So on the display it's showing about 401 watts and about 3.3 hours to full from 25%. And it is very quiet. I can hear a fan, but it is very, very quiet. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch this over to the fast charging mode. And this should give us full power. Power is ramping up, and the fan noise is also ramping up. Alright, looks like it's topping out here around 1,075 watts. And at this rate, from 26%, it's estimating about 1.2 hours to fully charge to 100%. And you can definitely hear the fan. It's not that bad, actually. I've heard worse. So even at full power, the fan noise is pretty reasonable. Alright, so quick demo of charging my car on the Jackery. And I just got my car plugged in over here. Got this TechNet EVSC car charger. Does 240 and 120, and I got the 120 adapter on here. And we're drawing over 1,000 watts, about 1064 watts. So definitely well within the limits of the power station, but of course it's still only charging at, say, 10 amps, 119 volts, so about 8.9 amps total. So it definitely works. It's just not going to be super fast. Using this to charge up your car, it's kind of an emergency backup, but it'll work in a pinch. And you can see it's working here, and in about 3 minutes it's already put in about 0.05 kilowatt hours. So looks like it's working well. Alright, so we're going to do a test on the AC inverter. Nominal is 2,000 watts continuous and a surge of up to 4,000 watts. So I got 3 high current devices on here. So this one here is a hair dryer, and this one, depending upon the setting you're using, will go up to about 1,600 watts, I believe. And I've got this heat gun here. It's on the second port. I think this one goes around 300 watts, and then I got a vacuum cleaner here and that gray plug. My Dyson over here, and that one will go, I think, around 1,200 watts. So we should be able to get over 2,000 watts, and we'll see how long it holds that. It'll probably hold it for a while, and then the overcurrent protection will probably kick in and shut down the inverter. We'll have to see. It's going to be really loud, so I'm going to turn the audio down here, and we're just going to watch the battery percentage and the output power, as well as the time available in terms of how much, how long you can use this power station at that current amount of power draw. So let's start off with the, I'm going to start off with the hair dryer first, and then we'll turn on the vacuum cleaner. Okay, I'm going to turn on the vacuum cleaner now. There you go. So I didn't even have to turn on the heat gun. It was around 2,700 watts for a bit there, and then you can see the error codes. There's basically the overcurrent protection kicking in. Yes, it can go over 2,000 watts, but not for that long. So just need to reset this. I think we just turn this off and then turn it back on again. So I think what I'll try now is the hair dryer, which goes, I think you saw there around 1,600 something, and then the heat gun, that'll be around 300 something. So that'll be around 2,000. I think it should stay on 2,000, no problem. We'll go ahead and test it out. Turning on the heat gun now. And we're just over 2,000 watts. Should be able to stay here no problem. Yeah, so no problem there. It was on 2,000 watts for well over a minute, no problem. Didn't have any issues, and then the hairdryer fell on the ground. Test of the USB. So we'll turn on via the app. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug in my phone. This is on the USB-A port, 18 watts max. And the phone's charging, 14 watts, okay. Got a power bank here. I think this charges up to 100 watts, but it's got like 80% capacity right now, so might not get not as much. So let's go ahead and plug it in. There we go. And it should ramp up here. Okay, so we're ramped up to 112 watts on the app there for both the phone and the power bank. And on the power bank here is showing 92 watts there. And a quick look at the specs on the solar panels, the Solar Saga 100s. So the open circuit voltage is 24.8 volts and the nominal voltage is 20 volts. So a little bit higher than your typical solar panel out there. The 100 watt solar panels typically are around 18 volts, slightly higher. So pretty typical setup for this solar panel. It folds into two sets of 9 cells each, and they do close magnetically. The build quality is very high. Very nice protection on the coating of the cells itself, and then the backside has a nice cloth feel to it. The two stands are held on by Velcro and also can be adjustable in terms of angle with basically some elastic straps. And additionally, the nice feature on this panel that a lot of panels don't have, it has a sun angle indicator, and basically you line up this shadowed dot in the middle of the center circle to know that you're aligned perfectly with the sun. When you have that, you will have the maximum power output from the solar panels. So the cable that it comes with is very nice. It has a USB-A and a USB-C port on there, so you can charge devices from those without even having to go through a power station. There are two adapter connectors on the end. There's an 8020 and a 7909. The 7909 is the one that's on the end of the adapter. If you plug that into the 1000 plus solar generator, that it actually plugs in, but it doesn't connect. So you have to make sure that the adapter is plugged or taken off, and then you're using the 8020 connector. So with both panels connected in the back, I was getting around 175 watts input power, pretty much lined perfectly. So that's about right in terms of maximum output power. Now, granted, it's towards the end of November now. Sun isn't quite as high in the sky, so you could probably eke out a little bit more in the summer. But overall, pretty good. Not too bad for a 100 watt panel. And then when I unplugged one and just had one panel plugged in, I was getting about 90 watts from a single panel. So pretty good overall efficiency on the 100 watt panel. I can't really complain. I thought that these panels performed pretty well. All right, so final conclusions here on the Jackery Solar Generator 1000 Plus. Very, very nice product. Excellent build quality. Comes with a 3-year warranty. It even has expandability up to 5 kilowatts with expansion batteries. So definitely has all the typical bells and whistles you'll see out there for about a 1 kilowatt power generator, power station. So definitely worth checking out in my opinion. There'll be a link down in the video description if you guys want to check it out. Comments, questions, leave them down below. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.